بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our discussion about اجتماع الأمر والنهي, when a command and prohibition come together in a particular case. So we have already mentioned 2 points before we go into the arguments, and there's a 3rd point left that we have to discuss tonight, and then we mention the arguments. The 3rd point is about different positions that are available, different opinions about this issue. Al-Amru al-Thalith al-Aqwalu fil Mas'ala. Aqwal is the plural for qawl. Qawl means a speech, but here means opinions. Yeah? Different opinions. Different positions. إن القول بجواز الاجتماع هو مذهب أكثر الأشاعرة. The view that it's permissible, it's possible to have prohibition and command together applied to one case is the view of the majority of the Ash'arites. والفضل ابن شاذان والفضل ابن شاذان من قدمائنا, one of our early scholars. Ash'arites are from our Sunni brothers. Fazl ibn Shadhan min qudama'ina, one of our scholars in early generations. وهو الظاهر من كلام السيد المرتضى. Also, the same thing appears to be the opinion of the late Sayyid Murtada in his book on Usul, which is called Al-Dhari'ah. This Al-Dhari'ah is a book of Sayyid Murtada on Usul al-Fiqh. وإليه ذهب فحول المتأخرين. The same position has been adopted by some of the strongest scholars of recent centuries. متأخر means recent. Like Muhaqqiq al-Ardebili or Al-Muqaddas al-Ardebili or Muhaqqiq al-Ardebili, Sultan al-Ulama, Muhaqqiq Khansari, wa waladuhu, his son, Al-Fadl al-Mudaqqiq al-Shirwani, Al-Sayyid al-Fadl Sadruddin, wa ghayrhum. واختاره من مشايخنا, and among Ayatollah Subhani's teachers, مشايخنا, he refers to his own teachers, السيد المحقق البروجردي, Ayatollah al-Uzma Burujerdi, والسيد الإمام الخميني قدس الله أسرارهم, ويظهر من المحدث الكليني رضاه بذلك. The same thing seems to be the view of Sheikh Kulayni, because when Sheikh Kulayni quotes Fazl ibn Shadhan, it seems that he's happy with the opinion of, doesn't make any objection, any reservation. حيث نقل كلام الفضل ابن شاذان في كتابه ولم يعقبه بشيء من الرد والقبول. He quotes the opinion of Fazl ibn Shadhan in his book and doesn't bring after that any rejection or acceptance. But normally when you don't reject, it means that you are somehow happy with it. بل يظهر من كلام الفضل ابن شاذان أن ذلك من مسلمات الشيعة. It's understood from the apparent, of course, meaning of what Fazl ibn Shazan said, that this is the opinion of Shia as a community. This is something that is musallam, means they have kind of accepted it. They are not questioning it. Okay, this is about those who say that it is possible. The opposite view is أما القول بالامتناع. Those who say that it is impossible to have command and prohibition together. Okay, امتناع means استحالة, means impossibility. ممتنع means impossible. أما القول بالامتناع فقد اختاره المحقق الخراساني. أخوند خراساني or محقق الخراساني صاحب الكفاية, in his book كفاية الأصول, he has chosen this opinion. It says it's impossible to have Amr and Nahy together. وأقام برهانه, and has established his own argument and proof for that. Okay, now that you know there are two opinions, إذا عرفت ذلك, if you understood this, فلنذكر دليل القولين. So now we mention the argument for both views, so that you can see how those who believe in possibility argue and how those who believe in impossibility argue. على سبيل الاختصار, of course, very briefly. وقد استدلوا على القول بالجواز بوجوه. Those who have argued for possibility and permissibility, they have different arguments. Wujuh means there are different ways that they have argued. We mentioned the most important ways. نذكر ما هو الأهم منها. So we mentioned the most important ways that they have argued. Okay? Do you enjoy the text?
Yes.
It's clear and
Yeah, it's easy to understand.
easy to understand. It's not difficult. Yes.
Sorry, Chef, there's a lot of people on one side and one person on the other side. Is that fair? Well, I mean, isn't there more people that...
More people believe in the permissibility. Yes.
But only one person in the whole...
No, not only one, but the main person is him. Yeah. But in scholarly discussions, number is not important. You know, whether someone is said by one person or 10 people doesn't make difference. Yeah. We have to see what's the argument. إن الأمر لا يتعلق. Okay, this is the first argument for permissibility or possibility. Yeah, the first argument for jawaz. Jawaz means what? Possibility. In Arabic, for passport, they say jawaz or safar. Why?
Makes it possible to travel.
Because without this you cannot travel. Like passport means with this you can pass the ports. Yeah? إن الأمر لا يتعلق إلا بما هو الدخيل في الغرض دون ما يلازمه من الخصوصيات غير الدخيلة. Command only belongs to what bears on the purpose. What is your purpose? Anything that directly relates to purpose, that is what command belongs to it. Not those things that come with it. Yulazimuhu. Okay? So, if there is something additional, accidental, no. Like khususiyat غير دخيلة. There are particularities which are not relevant. غير دخيلة means they are not relevant. The same is with prohibition, nahi. Nahy belongs to something which is disliked, مبغوض دون اللوازم والخصوصيات, not to those things which come with it or particularities. We give you example, it becomes very clear. Under the light of this, we can say, when you have aqimus salah, it's a command, establish prayer. What is the thing that Amr has belonged to it? What is that thing that is loved? Is salat. Okay? This particular salat that this person is going to say now has happened that it is in a qasbi place. But that is additional. Amr has belonged to salat, and this is salat. Nahy has belonged to qasb. Don't usurp, don't do qasb. This particular qasb has been used to say prayer, but that is secondary, that is marginal or additional. Basically, this first argument is to say that Amr has belonged to something and Nahy to something else. And even if in this particular case they come together, that's not important. Okay? Ma huwa al-ma'muru bih, what has been commanded is al-haythiyatu salatiyyah, is that aspect which is salat, to be salat. Even if it comes with qasb when you want to do it, وَإِنْ اقْتَرَنَتْ, means it accompanies غَصْب في مقام الإيجاد, when you are initiating it. Okay? Remember, this is a person who is in a qasbi place and he is also saying his prayer. He wants to say his prayer. So, what is commanded is prayer. Even if you know that this prayer now is going to take place in a qasbi place, that is additional, that is accidental. وَالْمَنْهِيُ عَنْ, and what is prohibited is الْحَيْسِيَّةُ الْغَصْبِيَّةُ وَإِنْ اقْتَرَنَتْ مَعَ الصَّلَاةِ. Although now this qasb has happened to be coming with salat in existence. But these are two separate things. عَلَى هَذَا, based on this, فَالْوُجُوبُ تَعَلَّقَ بِعِنْوَانِ الصَّلَاةِ, obligation or command has belonged to the title of salat. وَلَا يَسْرِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَى غَيْرِهَا, and this wujub would not be extended. Sarayan means to be extended, to a spread. Sarayan. Sarayan means to spread, like, for blood circulation, you say, Sarayan dam. Means blood is going everywhere. La yasri, also for epidemic disease, we say musri. We say bimariya musri. In Urdu, what do you say? When a disease spreads, musri.
Contagious disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say chud ki bimari. That's chud means when if you touch or it's gonna come.
We say musri in Farsi. So, sarayan means it spreads, it's extended. La yasri al-hukm. This wujub is not extended to غيرها, means other than salat, غير salat. Salat is what the command has belonged to it, and this wujub would not go anywhere else. من المشخصات الاتفاقية, those particular things that have happened to come with this particular salat, like qasb. For example, you say your salat in this room or another room. To be this room or that room is not important. Yeah? You say your salat while you are hungry or you are not hungry. These are khususiyat, but they are not important. What is important, and salat is, the command for salat is belonging to it, is invanus salah, just prayer.
But usurp space is very important.
Yeah, it's very important, yeah, but it's not something to which the command has belonged. Like, for example, to say your prayer next to Kaaba is very important, but to be next to Kaaba is not what the command has belonged to it. Okay? Facing Kaaba is important, but next to Kaaba is not what the command has belonged to it. It's good, but not necessary. Kama anna al-hurmah, prohibition also belong to what? Invan al-qasb, this concept, this title of qasb, user. And is not extended to the particular things that happen. Ittifaqi means they happen. Habitual. Happen. We say habitual or no? Happen, something. Coincident.
But al-laqat means it comes accidentally, isn't it?
Muta'allaqa means belongs to.
Belongs.
For example, this particular qasb has happened to be salat. That's not what qasb is normally involving. So the nahi has belonged to qasb, not to the salat. Fal-hukman. So you have two ruling. One is wujubus salah, one is hurmatul qasb. Those two verdicts or rulings are okay. They have no problem. They are in effect. The problem is for this particular person that has put himself or someone has put him in this position, awkward position, that he is praying in a qasbi place. Otherwise, those two rulings have no problem. فالحكمان ثابتان على عنوانهما لا يتجاوزانهما وبالتالي ليس هناك اجتماع. So, in reality, after careful examination, you see these two things have not applied to the same thing. You think it's ijtima, but it's not ijtima, it's iqtirab. Means they have become close, not they have really met each other. Yeah?
When somebody goes to a Gaspi place and prays knowing it's Gaspi, his praise won't be accepted, would it? Even Ayatollah Farastani would say that, isn't it?
Accepted or valid? We are not talking about acceptability, we are talking about validity.
So valid, it will be valid.
According to Al-Khundu Khurasani, yes, it can be valid. والذي يؤيد جواز الاجتماع. Someone like Asha'ira, Fazl ibn Shazan, Sayyid Murtada, they believe in jawaz. One of the things that they can bring as mu'ayyad. Mu'ayyad means as a supporting evidence. What does it mean mu'ayyad? Supporting evidence. Yeah? Ta'ayyid means to support. وَإِذْ أَيَّدْتُكَ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. Allah says to Jesus, remember when I supported you with the Holy Spirit. أَيَّدْتُكَ comes from yad. Means I gave you hand. I supported you. You know, it's very good if you try to analyze terms. Then you would learn many things. So, الذي يؤيد, what can support the permissibility or possibility of Amr and Nahy getting together, هو عدم ورود نص على عدم جواز الصلاة في المغصوب. It seems that according, of course I'm saying Subhani, Atullah Subhani, he says that there is no nas, there is no text. Nas here means text. There is no text, no scripture which indicates that it's not possible to say prayer in a usurped place. And it's invalidity of this. And you cannot say, okay, this was not something that would happen a lot. He says, no, it happens a lot. Umum al-ibtila'i bih. Mubtala bih means something that you would face it. Many people face this question of grasp, and then they want to do in that place prayer. How you say it's a common problem? He says, remember, one reason, of course, there are many reasons, but one reason for this is that in the time of Ammamids and Abbasids, okay, they used to attack other countries, other nations, and conquer them and add it to their territory. This is called al-Jihad al-Ibtida'i, initiative jihad. According to Shia scholars, the only one who can give you permission for Jihad al-Ibtida'i is Ma'soom. So all those wars, according to Shia scholars, were illegitimate. You know? Therefore, if they conquered lands of other people and then they gave it to Muslims and they said their prayer, according to Shia jurisprudence, it was qasbi. Yes.
Was Ayatollah Khomeini one of the only ones who said that there could be an argument for jihad al-ibtida'i?
Some people say when there is a Hakim al-Shahr who is Mabsut al-Yad, may have the permission. But many say no. So there is a ground for discussing about this. But for sure, we are very, very strict about Jihad al-Ibtida'i. For us, most of the time, Jihad is just to defend. Even with the case of Jihad al-Ibtida'i, also Ayatollah Mutahari has a good discussion and said even Jihad al-Ibtida'i that we accept, not that everything that has happened in the name of Islam. If there is a Jihad al-Ibtida'i, for example, in the time of the Imams or Prophet, was when people were oppressed and were not given access to the truth, and this message was blocked. Only in those cases, not just to expand your territory, you know, or you say other people have, you know, resources, we want to attack them and get their resources, you know. This type of thing, although even up to, you know, 19th, 20th century, it was common that one country, when they have power, they attack another country. But Islamically, no. We don't have such concept. So, in why this is umumul ibtila, you know, why it was a common problem? Because فإن ابتلاء الناس بالأموال المغصوبة في زمان الدولتين الأموية والعباسية لم يكن أقل من زماننا. In time of Imams, okay, the chance of people being faced with these problems was not less than our time. In the time of Ammamids and Abbasids, it was great chance that people would face this problem of qasb and saying prayer in qasbi land. Khususan, especially if you say that the booties that they used to take in those wars at that time were haram. Why? Because Jihad ibtida'i without permission of Imam, according to the qawl mashhur, according to the most famous view among the Shia jurisprudence, is not permissible, it's haram, according to mashhur. Most of our scholars, they don't allow that. فالغنائم ملك لمقام الإمام. Without permission of Imam is not possible, and the reason is that ghanima is under the control of Imam. When Imam is not happy, then you cannot take this ghanima. وَمَعَ ذَلِكَ لَمْ يَصِلْنَا نَحْيٌ. So although this was a common problem, So there is a need for a common problem to be addressed in our hadith. But we have not received any text about prohibition of prayer in that place or invalidity of prayer. So it means that prayer was okay. Otherwise they would have mentioned. لم يصلنا نحي في ذلك المورد ولو كان لبصل. Don't say maybe there was a text but has not reached us. We say if there was a text, it should have reached us, because this is something that was common. وهذا يكشف عن صحة اجتماع الأمر والنهي. This shows that it's possible to have amr and nahy together, but provided that they are belonging to the same case. Not as a condition, or better, maybe it's better not to say provided. It's possible to have command and prohibition belonging to the same case. It's possible. So this was the first argument and a supporting evidence for that. Now we bring another argument, but for the opposite view. استدل القائل بالامتناع بوجوه. They have also different arguments. أتقنها, the firmest, وأوجزها, the shortest, is what محقق خراسانی, Akhund Khurasani, has mentioned. But it needs to come in two levels, or there are two premises. The first muqaddama, the first, prerequisite or premise, إن الأحكام الخمسة متضادة. أحكام الخمسة: وجوب,
haram,
استحباب, إباحة, makruh, كراهة, and حرمة. These five متضادة, they are opposite. They cannot get together. Because you cannot have pushing and holding back, for example, or encouraging and discouraging at the same time. So, if amr and nahy belong at the same time, it's not possible. The second premise is that these rulings belong to the action of the mukallaf, not a title in the mind or in the world of concepts. The particular action that the mukallaf does. So this particular action is salat and it is ghasb. So how those ahkam which are mutazad, they conflict each other. There are five ahkam which are opposite to each other. How can two of them belong to fi'l mukallaf, the same action of mukallaf? The action is a reality outside. There's one action. He is praying and at the same time he is occupying that place, which is ghasbi. How two hukm which contradict or which not contradict, which conflict with each other can apply to the same case? This is not possible.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, of course.
When Iraq invaded, when Saddam invaded Iran,
Yes.
there were Shias in Saddam's army. They must have captured some land and they prayed in them. How was it acceptable? Wars and all those places.
According to whom?
No, I'm asking you. I
According
don't know.
according to Akhund Khurasani, salat was valid, but ghasb was haram.
I see.
So they have committed a sin,
Yes.
but they have also managed to say their prayer. So they don't need to do ghaza, for example, now.
I see.
فإن متعلق الأحكام هو فعل المكلف وما يصدر عنه في الخارج. What the rulings belong to, okay? What the rulings belong to is the action of the person, mukallaf. What do you think is a good translation for mukallaf?
Somebody who's obligated.
No, one word.
The person should be
There's no one word.
the obligated person.
The
Or
obligated.
responsible person.
Obligated.
Yeah, but there is no one word. Yeah, mukallaf.
Responsible?
Responsible means mas'ul. Mukallaf means the obligated,
Obligated.
the one who has been given an obligation. Pardon?
Obligated.
The obligated, yeah? Yeah, the obligated. But it sometimes it can be not wajib also. So the obligation can be, for example, karaha, can be ibaha. But in English, if you say the obligated, shows there was a compulsion.
Well, it shows, but then when you think about it, you could say that he's obligated to do one of these things. He doesn't have a choice to do.
No, you are not obligated to do one of those things.
You know, obligated whether it's makruh or not. It's not wajib.
For example, you cannot say you are obligated to do Salatul Layl. Pardon? Entrusted. No. Entrusted means ma'amun, means you have been given amana. Mukallaf is the one who receives taklif, instructions from God. The one who is religiously responsible, for example. Yeah?
Religiously responsible.
Religiously responsible. You know, when you learn new languages, it really opens your mind. Because maybe you don't know how much your language can affect your understanding. There are languages that they don't have certain concepts, and therefore for the people of those language who speak that language, it's difficult to think about those concepts. Okay? If you learn different languages, then you learn how to look at things in different ways and different perspectives. Especially a language like Arabic, with all the development that Arabic has gone through because of development of Islamic sciences. Okay? So it's very helpful. If you learn these terminologies, properly, even if you don't become a scholar of Usul or whatever, your mind is very broadened. You can analyze things, you can understand things, you can look at things from different perspectives. You will no longer be a simple-minded person. Okay? So you make life of other people very hard. Because it's difficult for them to argue with you. Of course, for the people who really learn, because some people just pass the exams. If you really learn, your mind will be very critical, analytical, very sharp. Yes.
I've seen quite a few words from Hindi and Urdu language in the Oxford Dictionary.
Uh-huh.
And those words are only there because the Indian and Pakistani people, they use those words in English a lot.
I
So
see.
they had to give I think if we bring the terminology in our common language, then a time is going to come, we don't have to find the word will be there as it is.
The point of time is coming soon.
We need to think about this.
Because some of the words cannot be translated. For example, I've seen few of the mustalahat falsafiya in English, just little word and the definition is about 2 lines.
Yeah. We have to think about this, whether it is better to bring the same terms to the language, or it's better to find a term in that language that can carry this. You know, it's like, for example, if you come from Pakistan to here, is it better to bring your own car and, you know, force the government here to give you a temporary plate, or it's better to find a car here that you can drive here?
Of course, the second option is a good one.
We have to think. I'm not saying definitely this is the case, but I'm saying we have to think about it for the long term.
Sorry.
You know, just yes. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, it's difficult when you study these things to have quickly answer. You know, you have to think about many scenarios. But your point is also a good point. You know, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that we need to think about it more. Yeah.
The accountable is
Pardon?
accountable person.
Mm.
The person who's accountable.
Accountable is different from mukallaf. Accountable means like responsible, mas'ul, yeah? Mukallaf means someone who is legally responsible, yeah? Or someone who is addressed by a legal authority.
I think obligated.
There must be, maybe in law there is a term, you know, maybe if someone has studied law, then maybe they can find a term here. If you go to dictionaries, maybe mukallaf.
You say someone who is liable.
Pardon?
Is liable.
Liable,
There's difference.
there is a difference.
I think religiously responsible is the more closest one, not one word.
Legally.
Religiously responsible.
So religion is one of the legal systems.
Yeah,
Yes.
or legally responsible.
Legally responsible. Okay. So I repeat the second premise. أن متعلق الأحكام هو فعل المكلف وما يصدر عنه في الخارج. What the rulings belong to is the action of the mukallaf, the person who is responsible legally or jurisprudentially, and whatever is issued from him is any action that happens from him in the external world. لا ما هو اسمه وعنوانه. Not the name and title, the reality which is outside. That reality, why they emphasize on reality? Because reality is only one. When you are talking about concepts, salat and ghasb are two concepts. But when we go to the real world, we have only one action, which is salat and ghasb at the same time. ثم استنتج وقال إن المجمع, what has brought these two together, majma is the place of coming together. كان واحدا وجودا وذاتا, because it's one thing in existence and essence, belonging of command and nahy, prohibition to it is impossible. يكون تعلق الأمر والنهي به محالا, because the one reality belonging of command and prohibition to it is impossible. وإن كان تعلق به بعنوانين, even if this belonging is because of two titles, salat and ghasb. Why? لما عرفت, because you knew من أن الموضوع الواقعي للتكليف هو فعل المكلف, because what taklif has really belonged to, the subject that taklif has belonged to, is the action of the person in its reality, not its title and names. Ayatollah Subhani doesn't agree with this. So, he has a reservation, he has objection. يُلَاحَظُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. Okay, there's a reservation. بعد تسليم المقدمة الأولى. Suppose that we accept the first premise, which was those 5 rulings: wujub, istihbab, ibaha, karaha, hurma. Say, okay, they are mutazad, they are opposite to each other. But our problem is something else. أن الموضوع للتكاليف ليس هو الهوية الخارجية. What obligation belongs to is not that external reality of the action. Because there are 2 possibilities. Do you mean that action before comes to existence is what the command has belonged to it, or prohibition has belonged to it, or after it becomes a reality? Okay?
Again, please. This one.
The question is, in the second premise, they said, Amr and Nahy, or any taklif, belong to what? To al-Fi'l al-Khariji lil-Mukallaf. The external, the real action of the Mukallaf. You say no. Taklif belongs to the action of Mukallaf, but not al-Khariji, not al-Fi'l al-Khariji. Inwanul fail, not the actual fail, the actual action. And al-mawdu' al-taklif, the subject of taklif, means what has been commanded or prohibited, is not al-huwiyyatul kharijiyya, is not the external reality. Why? Because you cannot push towards that reality. Does that reality exist or not? If it doesn't exist, so how you are pushing? If it exists, means there is no need for pushing. It has already happened. لأنه يستحيل أن يتعلق البعث والزجر بها. It's impossible to have pushing or holding back for that reality. Why? Because if it belongs to this reality before it is happening in the real world, there is one problem. If it happens after it comes to the real world, it's another problem. In both cases, there is a problem. If you say the command or prohibition has belonged to that action before it becomes a reality, say, so it means that it has not yet happened. How something that does not exist has become mawzul al-taklif? Taklif has to belong to something that exists. If you say no, after its existing, taklif belongs to it. We say if it exists, then why we need taklif? So if you are saying that actual prayer that he does is mawzu or aqimus salah, we said if that has happened, this is tahsilul hasils, to try to gain something which already exists, to try to achieve something which already exists. Tahsilul hasil. This is not acceptable. If you say no, it doesn't exist, if it doesn't exist, then it cannot be mawzu or taklif. So the best way is to say mawzu or taklif is the title of action. You can imagine it, you can understand it, and we say that thing that you can understand must happen in the world. Must happen in the real. Bring it to the world. Bring it to the objective world, to the real world. Okay? So مرجع ذلك إلى تعلق الحكم بالعناوين. Verdicts or rulings belong to the titles, which are possible to understand even if the action has not happened. Let us give you a hint of what can be the result of this debate. What is the fruit? What is the outcome? Because we don't want to discuss something just theoretically. Is there any benefit for this discussion? Any practical outcome can come? Samaratun niza is the fruit of this question, this debate. إن القائل بجواز الاجتماع, those who say that Amr and Nahy can come together, يذهب, they go for this opinion that with the same action you can have obedience and disobedience. حصول الامتثال والعصيان, you can have امتثال means obedience and disobedience, isyan, with the same action.